The point was not what he did, but how he did it. The point with American Airlines is not what they did, but how they did it.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
Welcome to another Minisode, everybody. Dustin Harris hanging out once again in the podcast chair, the home podcast chair today, reporting from my home studios. Welcome. By the way, if you have not yet joined us on YouTube, we are slowly but surely gaining some traction there. So invite you to please head over to YouTube, find the Appraiser Coach, subscribe to our channel, like this video if you do. Don't dislike it if you don't, but just like it if you do. And we really do appreciate it. By the way, there's a reminder button as well. Hit that little bell. And I guess it reminds you to whenever a new episode drops on YouTube. I want to pause and remind you that we are sponsored by a great money saving and time saving program. By the way, that is really the same thing. Money saving, time saving. It is Spark for Appraisers. Spark4appraisers.com is where you go to find out more. Again, spark4appraisers.com. Welcome back. I want to share with you an experience that I had recently, actually two juxtaposed. I love that word. I'm going to juxtapose two different experiences that I had recently. And I think there's some lessons to be learned here about, customer service, what you're in it for, meaning what are you doing? What's our purpose? What are we doing? It's to do appraisals, Dustin. Is it? Or is there maybe a greater mission that we can accomplish when we are in the process of doing valuation? Recently had a wonderful mastermind, a set of masterminds. We had 3 masterminds in a row, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I was in Dallas on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, both in Nashville. We've been doing a really cool thing lately where we have taken the masterminds and combined them into one that meets over 2 days. And the cool thing about this is you can choose to be a part of one day. You can choose to be a part of both days. You'll only get one couch session. I say only, it's a whole hour dedicated to you to work on your business. But on Tuesday, Wednesday, we had our Chicago team, our Washington, D.C. team, and the Nashville team meet on Tuesday and Wednesday, and it was absolutely fabulous. I can tell you, I say this every time, but it's true every time. It was probably one of the better masterminds I've been to in a long time. It was energetic. It was upbeat. It was wonderful. Yeah, we're all dealing with the same stuff, folks. Slow down city out there, right? And yet, it was awesome. It was positive. It was upbeat. We talked about a lot of different things. Anyway, I digress. My first story comes trying to get home. So typically flying out of Nashville is not real easy to get back to Idaho Falls, Idaho. It's not like there's a straight flight at 8 o'clock p.m. and I show up at 11 p.m. in Idaho Falls. No, typically I do the American Airlines route through DFW. And believe it or not, there's not a late night flight from Nashville to DFW and then on to Idaho Falls. And so typically when I end in Nashville, I typically will stay till the next day, which is what the case was here. Well, it turns out that the next day there was weather in Dallas. I actually got a heads up about it the day before. I got an email and a text from American Airlines saying, hey, if you want to rearrange your flight, you may do so. I might actually turn this into 3 stories because a side story that I had not planned on talking about was the fact that I tried numerous different times to change my flight. And even though it said it will cost you nothing to change your flight because of weather, they were trying to get people to change their flight. Every flight I chose was an extra cost. So that was, kind of a false advertising, if you will. So nonetheless, I bode my time the next day, Thursday, got up early, went to the airport and decided to, check in and get ready. And one delay led to another delay, led to another. I was at the airport in Nashville for 6 long hours on Thursday. And then they finally decided to call it. There was a point at which I missed the last connection from DFW to Idaho Falls, and they basically said, listen, no matter what plane we put you on at this point, you're not making it back tonight. I said, that's fine, whatever. So I went and got in the rearranged line, right? Again, another story for another time, but you're telling me American Airlines doesn't have the technology to be able to just allow you to do this on your phone? It kills me, really does. And I'll share with you something that happened the next day that was even more infuriating, right? This idea that we've got to stand in line and actually talk to a human being in order to get something changed that could be done on an app. I know it can be done on an app because I booked my original plane on an app. I mean, come on, American Airlines, get it together, right? But that's not the negative story I want to share with you today. The positive story is I was in line a short time. It was not very long at all. And I was greeted by an American Airlines employee who asked me, how he can help. And I said, well, like everybody else, my flight got canceled, and I need to get rebooking, and I need a hotel for tonight. And if you're willing, a meal voucher. They did give me a meal voucher, by the way. It was $12 for 3 meals. Not $12 times 3, $12 divided over 3 meals. Nonetheless, I am not complaining. Well, I kind of am. The story I want to tell you is the experience that I had with this individual. Now, in order to understand the whole story, let me give you just a brief background. When I attend 2 different masterminds, I typically have to buy 2 separate tickets. I can't buy a round trip ticket. And the reason is because I fly to Dallas Sunday, I meet with the Dallas team, and then Monday night I fly on to Nashville. And then when I come back, I have to buy a separate ticket because I'm in 2 different cities, if that makes sense. So there are 2 open tickets rather than 1 round trip closed ticket. That caused a problem. When I got to the counter, the individual informed me that he could not rebook my ticket and could not give me a voucher because of this situation, because I had 2 tickets rather than 1. In other words, the origination city was listed as Dallas. He could get me back to Dallas, but not all the way home. I know, silly, right? Well, he and I kind of had a chuckle about that. I said, well, that's ironic because I can show you my ticket from Idaho Falls on Sunday through Dallas and then on to Nashville, which I did. Of course, he was very understanding. In fact, that's kind of the point I want to make today. The man was very, very, very easy to work with, extremely easy to work with. One of the first things he said to me as I shared my ID was he said, we Idahoans need to stick together. I'm going to help you through this. I thought that was fun. I learned that he was from Jerome, Idaho, which is not too far from here, just a hop, skip, and about a 2-hour drive from where I live. I know Jerome, Idaho very well. I appraise in Jerome, Idaho, and it was fun to connect with a fellow Idahoan. Of course, that led to a conversation of what brings you to Nashville and how long did you live in Idaho and do you miss the snow and so on and so forth. Now, I was very cognizant that there were people behind me. I was not taking up more time in the line than needs be, but nonetheless, because of American Airlines, not because of Dustin Harris, but because of American Airlines, folks, I was in that line for 25 minutes. Now, remember what I said about this story. This is the positive story. Okay. I was in line for 25 minutes. I will share with you briefly what happened the next day because I alluded to it earlier. When I showed up the next day, I was unable to book or log in and confirm my reservation on the app to get my boarding pass. So no problem. I'll just show up a half hour earlier and I'll do it at the kiosk. Well, I walked in, folks, and the kiosk line was at least 2 hours long. And I had come not an hour early, which is what I would normally do, but an hour and a half early. I was in trouble. And I did some fancy footwork. I actually upgraded my ticket to priority so that I could go stand on the priority line, which was a 45-minute line instead of a 2-hour line. I ended up getting my boarding pass. The rest is history. But again, I digress. Technology, folks. Hello, American Airlines. Are you listening? You have the technology. Would you please utilize it? Maybe there's stuff I don't understand and don't know. I do not understand why I have to stand in line at a priority counter for 45 minutes to get somebody to print my boarding pass. It's baffling to me. And I think everybody in that line, that 2-hour line, was feeling the same way. A lot of them missed their plane just because there was just not enough time to stand in that line and get your boarding pass and go through. But again, The purpose of today's episode, quick mini-sode for you today, is to juxtapose two different stories. The man, I don't remember his name, unfortunately. I should have written it down, but the man was amazing there at the counter. Now, again, not to take away from the other stories of the technology problems, but at least my interaction with American Airlines with this individual was fabulous. It was wonderful. He was there to help, folks. He was there to help. You can tell he was there to help. I could feel he was there to help, right? And he handled everything calmly, coolly, and with the utmost in customer service. Juxtapose that to an experience I just had just a few minutes ago when we get back for the break. First, I want to pause here and remind you that we are sponsored by a great company called Spark. Speaking of companies that are there to help, folks, how about a company that will help you to be more effective and to be more efficient and thus to save more money? Spark for Appraisers is that company. I'm telling you, folks, if you want to save about 30, 45, maybe even an hour's time on every stinking report that you do, Spark will allow you to do so. Spark is where it's at. Find out more by going to spark4appraisers.com. Again, spark4appraisers.com. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. Dustin Harris hanging out once again with you in the podcast chair, which is right behind me. Just got back from the post office. And I love the post office. I say that sarcastically. I got one of these tags in my mailbox that said that you have a package that we were unable to deliver. I assume it's because we are in the melty season right now. We've had a great amount of snow. We try to keep our driveways clear, but folks, it is an impossible task. And the day that they supposedly delivered this package or tried to deliver this package, they simply couldn't get to my house. My mailbox does not take packages. They have to come up to the front door, and there was just no way to get there without galoshes and maybe a diving suit. It's that bad out there. So I got one of these little tags in the mail that says, "Hey, you have a package. It's downtown. Go pick it up." Now, the honest truth is, I did not make a special trip to go in to the post office. I was going in for another reason anyway. I had to go to the bank and run another couple of errands in town. And by the way, when I say in town, I'm not talking about the big metropolis of Idaho Falls. I'm talking about the small metropolis of Rigby, Idaho, which is about 3,000 people. We have a convenience store. Oh, there is a grocery store. We have now two lights. We used to only have one light, but we do have two lights now. But I did go in to get some things done, and I stopped by the post office. And yes, I had to stand in line, which was frustrating. But I got to the counter and I handed them my tag and said, "I'm here to pick up a packages." And he didn't greet me. He didn't say hello. He said, "Hold on." And he walked into the back. He was gone for, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. Came back out and said, "I don't see any package." I mean, that literally verbatim, that's what he said. "I don't see any package." Okay. That tag says that they tried to deliver one. That was yesterday. Is it possible they tried to redeliver today? He goes, "No, they don't do that. If they leave this tag, they leave it here." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Anything else we can do here?" He goes, "Well, what's the package?" I'm like, I have no idea. I mean, it's a tag that says Harris and has my address and says we tried to deliver a package and to come pick it up. I says, "Am I at the right place?" And he goes, "Yeah." Now, I hope you're catching on to not just what is being said on the other side of the counter, but how it's being said. And I hope that you, by the way, I never got my package, have no idea. Go figure, right? But nonetheless, I tried. But you understand the difference between the two experiences. Honestly, the experience with American Airlines was longer. It was more frustrating. I ended up spending the night again. I was all ready to get home. I've been gone since Sunday morning. Here it is Thursday, and I get to wait another day. Didn't get home till late Friday night. Yes, I missed the date with my wife. We had to go out the next day instead. Frustrating, but yet the experience that I had with the gentleman at the counter was nothing short of happy and friendly, and I felt served, and I felt like he was there to help. Customer service, folks, as opposed to a government post office in a small town. Yes, nonetheless, just treated like garbage, treated like another number, treated like, would you please get out of line so I can actually help people that I can do something with. Folks, it was a completely different experience. All right. I hope that the two stories today will bring to mind some of the things that we have talked about on this microphone many, many times in the past. And that is, what is your purpose? What is it that we are doing? Now, if you say, well, I'm here to value houses, okay, I guess that's true. You are. But could there be a bigger purpose, right? You could say to this individual at American Airlines that he is there to, perform customer service or to take care of customers or, to rearrange flights or whatever it is, right? Fill in the blank. But in a bigger sense, he was there to make my life easier, as opposed to the individual across the counter at the post office a few minutes ago who was absolutely cared nothing about making my life easier, cared about getting me out of line, cared about moving the line along, cared about, and I'm going to spend 3 minutes in the back looking for a package. If I don't find it, by golly, that we're done, right? No service at all. Now, I'm not saying that this person at the post office could have done any more. That's not even the point. The point was not what he did, but how he did it. The point with American Airlines is not what they did, but how they did it. Now, every other experience I had with American Airlines, as I've already pointed out over those that period of time, was negative, right? Just was not. Well, that's not true. I did get first class on the way home. I did get upgraded to first class on the way home, so that was a positive. But for the most part, and again, folks, that wasn't anybody's doing as much as just the system. Right? This guy's a frequent flyer. We've got an empty seat. We'll bump him up to first class, which is great. I'm not complaining. The idea, folks, of being there to help. My question for you is that it is very, very easy to get in this slump, especially right now when things are slow, especially right now when volume is low, especially right now then your losses are starting to exceed your profit side of things. Right? It is frustrating. It is nerve-wracking. It is scary, and it can damper your mood. My encouragement today, folks, is that rather than be the post office employee, take a look at the great experience that I had with American Airlines. Be that guy from Jerome, Idaho. What are you doing to serve your clients, to serve your homeowners, to serve, yes, your real estate agents? I know. Suck it up, Buttercup. Are you there to be the very best that you can be? I hope so. Thank you for joining me today, folks. By the way, if you are interested in joining any of those masterminds, we are meeting for 2 days at a time now in Nashville and LA, right? So Dallas is now going to the LA group, to the Salt Lake group. And so we're holding 2-day masterminds in each area. If you are willing to get to that area, yes, you need to be there in person. We would love to have. Oh, by the way, we still have the online group as well. That's a great group as well. But we would love to have you in person. Reach out to me. I would love to have you as my guest for free. Just reach out. The coach at theappraisercoach.com. Thank you, folks, and go create some value.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.